Let's talk about dating over 40, over 50, and beyond. Take your finger, slide it over, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, get on my list. In the description, there's a link. You put your email in, and that will give you access to content that I can't share on YouTube, probably one or two things a month. Okay, so this kind of came up in discussions, and guys, I see it all the time. Guys who are in their 40s or even in their 50s, and they get discouraged with the sexual marketplace. They get discouraged with their dating options, and they start wondering, like, what is the point? What's going on? All right. Now, most of these guys, of course, got out of relationships that were bad. Mostly recent, divorced or whatever, and they haven't been out in the sexual marketplace for a while. And they look around them and they think, gosh, all there are low quality women. What am I doing? What can I do about this, right? Well, first of all, let me break a little paradigm for you. It's chances are when you were in your 20s and dating, there were all low quality women anyway. But you didn't notice because they looked pretty and smelled nicer. All right? So you have women between 20, 21, whatever, 25, 26. Most of them are trash. I'm not trying to be against women. There's a lot of guys that are trash too, but I'm just telling you the facts. If you don't like it, or some women don't like me saying that, then just don't be trash and be the exception, okay? But the reality is most women are trash. And at the younger age, though, you didn't notice because they were hot and they looked pretty, they smelled nice, and they made you feel good. And they were, of course, behaving and acting like trash, and we accepted it because they were pretty. And now that they're in their 40s or 50s, they're not quite so pretty. We notice how trashy they really are. Then you add to that baggage and problems that they don't take responsibility for. Their unhappiness, their divorces, and their problems. None of that's their fault. It's always someone else's fault, some guy's fault usually. And so then they bring those negative thoughts, feelings, experiences, whatever, about men to every interaction they have with men. Okay. And so, so that they seem pretty trashy there, right? But the women that do that often were trash when they were younger, okay? And they were trash, and they made trash decisions, and they trashed their vaginas on, a bunch of dudes, and, married the wrong guy, and they just continue to do trashy things. And then they're older now, and now they're doing older trashy things. They're not any different. All right. So that's the first thing. Get that out of your head that just the pool of women nowadays, the quality is so much worse now than it was. No, it's probably close to the same, which is trash, okay? And then you have a subset of women that are not trash and that are good potential prospects, mates, not having personality disorders, not filled with drama, not going to bring you a bunch of grief and problems, and going to be pleasant and fun to be around. There's a bunch of women that are like that, and then there's a bunch of women that are not. And I don't think the pool is that much different when you're older. It might be a little bit different, okay, because, the ones that made good decisions for themselves and aren't trash are probably with somebody. So I guess in that sense, your pool's a little bit smaller. But here's the deal. None of that actually makes a difference, okay? Women are attracted to men as they age, as long as they maintain their SMV. I'm 42 years old. I can get any woman of any sexual age right now, period. Any adult woman of any sexual age, as low as 21 or even younger if I wanted to. I'll go younger than that, okay? But I can go as young as I want. I can go as old as I want. I'm 42 years old. It's not going to change in 5 years. It's not going to change in 10 years. Maybe when I'm in my 60s, it might change a little bit, and I'll have to bump my age category up to 30s instead of 20s as far as who would be attracted to me. They're going to be attracted to me for different reasons and so forth. They're not going to be attracted to me in the same way that they would be attracted to a 25-year-old guy for the same reasons. But They're still going to be attracted to me, aroused by me, and they're still going to want to bang me, and they're still going to want to have long-term relationships with me or whatever, if that's what I'm looking for. All right? So the first thing you need to do is you need to change your thinking. Because if you're focused on all of the reasons you can't do something, all the reasons why you're failing because of somebody else, something else, they've been alpha widowed, they've been this, they've been that, they got too many kids, they got this, they got that. Well, there's a whole pool of women out there that don't have those problems. You're just not accessing those women. So you need to get yourself out of the paradigm. If you're an older male, don't look at your failures at being able to pull higher quality, good SMV women as somebody else's problem, okay? Or some external problem that, you're just cursed and you're the victim of this thing. It's not. It is what it is. Reality is what it is, and you're not the victim, okay? You are a product of your own decisions and your own actions. And so if you're not getting quality women in your 40s and 50s, it's because of your actions and behaviors and not because there aren't any out there. Okay, so there are plenty out there. I understand that they're a smaller percentage, but so what? Women have the same constraints. They only really want the top 20% of men, and 80% of guys are literally undateable to them. So women have challenges. We don't have as many challenges as far as I'm concerned because we remain attractive to women as we age. Women have a real problem in their 40s and 50s as far as being attractive to men, okay? And so, yeah, you don't need to go with the ugly ones or the obese ones or the ones that are, have, personality disorders or the bitchy ones. You don't have to date those, all right? You can expose yourself to other women, all right? And you can, and so what that means is you're going to have to expand your pool or your sphere of influence, okay, to pull different women. If the pool of women, like you just go to work, you come home, and where you're sourcing potential dates from is very narrow, you're only going to have a narrow set of options. So you need to open those options up. I recommend in-person game because being able to meet somebody, even a stranger, and being able to pick them up and then get them into a date and then get them and move them along, get them into the bedroom, get them into a interaction dating with you. I recommend being able to game a woman, being able to do that from cold approach, because that is going to increase your skill set overall. Your skill set probably is not very good. Your game is probably not very good because you were married or you had, you know what I mean? You've been out of the gate. You've been out of it for a while. You haven't been dating for however many years, and now you're back in the dating pool and back in the dating market at, in your 40s or 50s. So you have to learn those skill sets. Now from there, you can start sourcing online. Those are your dating apps. Those are maximizing social media, okay, and those sorts of platforms. Those can be good. They're going to be more effective if you know how to game women, though. So if you have a narrow pool that you're able to choose from in-person game, you can open that pool up to hundreds of more potential dates by getting online, if you know what you're doing online. And there's a million courses out there that tell you how to do that. If you go look up John MLD Modern Life Dating, okay, I might even put a link to him in the description. He's got a new course coming out. He's had courses out before, and he's big on sourcing online. So that's a skill set. I can teach you how to do that too, but I don't. I'm more of a in-person game kind of a person, right? So one of those courses might be valuable to you. In some of these conversations, guys will say, well, they're not going to use the online platforms. Well, I think that you need to get with 2020. If you're having trouble opening up your options, that's a way to open up your options. You're really narrowing yourself by not doing that. But you have to learn a set of skills. And that gets to really the second thing, besides changing the mindset, right? Oh, and that's another thing, Wire. If your pool of women in their, let's say you're in your 40s, let's say you're 47, 48 years old, and you're only dating women in their 40s? Why are you doing that? Your women in their 40s, it's harder to find a good potential plate, date, or match that's worth anything at that age, because most of them have been banged up in the sexual marketplace through their own bad decisions. Most of the cougar types and MILF types are a waste of your time. I'm not saying they all are, okay? There's certainly some that are fine. But if you're talking about statistical pools here, that's not really a good pool to go for. If you're in your 40s, you can date women in their 30s. You can date women in their 20s without any problems at all. You'll run into different challenges with different age categories, but why are you narrowing yourself to one age category? And if you can't get women who are in their 30s or 20s in your 40s, what's the problem? The problem isn't your age, the problem is your game. The problem is your SMV or your game. That's what the problem is. So let's increase your SMV if that's the problem, and let's learn game so you can learn how to attract and arouse younger women, that are not so jaded by their own bad decisions, right? And so you have to have a mindset shift. If you think all women are crap and there just aren't any good women out there, then that's going to cloud your interaction with every girl you run into and every woman you talk to. And every time they have any imperfection or flaw, you're going to go immediately, oh, she ain't, this chick ain't shit, right? Like, that's how you're gonna cloud it. How are you gonna have good, positive, fun times and good interactions with women that you're dating or even in a relationship if you think women are crap? And I'm not saying you think that, who's watching this or who's I've talked to about this, but when you're saying that there just aren't any good options out there, that's kind of where you're going with it. And so maybe you need to rethink that paradigm. There's plenty of women out there that are a lot of fun, and who cares? There's a lot of them are going to have flaws too. A lot of them will have red flags. Still have a lot of fun with them. You don't have to be in a relationship with them, until you vetted them properly, So whatever, relax and learn how to have fun, but you have to shift your thought process and your mindset about this. And right now, a lot of you guys who are older and dating, the biggest constraint you have is you. It's not the women, it's you. You're your biggest problem. You're your worst enemy because you're not opening up your mind and your paradigm to different types of relationships you could be having, different age categories, different talent pools, so to speak, different ways of sourcing. You're limiting yourself, and you're the biggest problem. You're exposing yourself only to the very large pool of women that suck and aren't worth it, and then you're being jaded by that, And it's also an ego protection. Instead of facing your shortcomings and where you suck with women, you're blaming women. Well, okay, women aren't the problem, you're the problem. That's what I usually run into guys in their 40s or 50s. And I'm not diminishing the crap that women do. I'm not diminishing the the large pools of low quality of women that are out there. But again, that's not an excuse. I can think of excuses as to why I can't be successful in anything in life, whether it's business, fitness, pick anything, right? And I can think of all the reasons why I can't do it, or I can just focus on the reality of it and make conscious decisions and do actions that are going to get me the results and stop making excuses, right? And so you're your biggest enemy, probably. That's number one. Number two is, what do you need to do? What do you need to learn? You need to learn game, period. If you've been out of the dating pool, you're in your 40s or 50s, you don't know how to communicate with women, probably, okay, at a primal sexual level where they're aroused and attracted to you and they desire you, all right? That is what you need to work on. It doesn't matter if you're the best, a really good looking guy or the biggest alpha chad in the world. If you don't know how to communicate with women on that level, you're not going to be successful. Even if you got a lot of money in the pocket and a lot of things to offer a chick, it's only going to be transactional. She's not going to desire you. You want a woman to desire you, you have to be able to communicate with them on a primal level. That is game, okay? Communicating with them on a level where it triggers arousal and it triggers desire. That is what you need to work on. And if you don't have those skills, you probably didn't have those skills before, other than maybe like you did a few things right, you know what I mean, that got you married at some point or whatever, but you probably don't have those, you're probably here and you need to be like here with your skill sets. If you're older, women are going to be attracted to you, not because you're a 22-year-old looking fit, fun party guy or whatever. You know what I mean? That's not the reason. They're going to be attracted to you more than that guy because you are attractive physically. Your SMV is good, but more so because of your experience. A woman who's in her 20s is happy to hook up with a guy in his 40s when he's an experienced man and he knows how to handle women. That means he knows he's going to handle her in the bedroom and all that. She's going to have the best experience that she's ever had in her whole entire life with that guy because he knows his shit. Well, if you can't communicate with women, can't game women outside of the bedroom, what does that communicate? How you're going to perform how you're going to show up in the bedroom. It's not like you're going to magically all of a sudden be good at that, right? And so you need to bring an alpha presence to women regardless of what your age is or what's their age is, and that you are able to convey that through game. And so right now your game probably needs improvement. And so those two things, changing your mental, getting a paradigm shift, so going from all of this negative, crappy thinking that you have and getting into thinking about how you can be successful is the first thing you have to do, along with the second thing, which is improve your game. And actually, I will say improve your SMV and game, okay? Because, if you haven't been taking care of yourself and you're not, at your best self, that's going to be a real challenge, when it comes to gaming women. So you want to improve both your SMV, and your game as well. And so if you're weak in those things, I coach. This is things that I will coach you through that or give you, consultation. All right. So I can counsel you through the dating process and being better at gaming women. It's a skill set that you have to learn, and you'll carry that skill set with you, whether you're just dating women, whether even it's platonic relationships with women, or whether you're in a relationship. You're always having to have that primal communication with women, which is what game is. And so that's a skill you need to learn. So these are the things that are going to get you out of the sucky position you are as a guy in his 40s or 50s that is struggling with women, struggling with the marketplace. You attack these two problems, you're going to be successful. You get out of your head and get out of your shitty negative thinking paradigm and stop making excuses. That's like the first step, and that's awesome. Second step is improve your game and improve your SMV. You do those two things, you're going to see massive results with women in your life, more so than you ever had before, actually, than you ever did when you were younger. All right. Thanks for the support.